Okay, this is a review I'm super excited to be doing. This is the Bread and Butter Shogun, and if you caught my last review of a bread and butter paddle, you'll know they're killing it right now. The Fat Boy that I reviewed just a little while ago, well, that's one great paddle. I just love how that face with the aramid carbon fiber blend feels and how that super unique shape cuts through the air. Be sure to check out that review if you haven't. That's one of my favorite paddles of the year. But what we're looking at today is the Shogun, and I know I'm late to the game, but I think you'll be interested in what I have to say about this very unique paddle. However, before we get too far into things, I want to let you know Bread and Butter is letting me give one of these babies away for free, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video to see how to enter. But if you want to get a head start, you can go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. I also want to let you know I'm working on a video of my favorite pickleball accessories, so that's another reason to subscribe because you really won't want to miss that one. And if you want a sneak peek, I've got a list down in the video description of a lot of the gear I've been testing out, so don't be afraid to click around. Okay, now let's talk specs. The Shogun is a 60mm paddle. Its face is T700 carbon fiber and a polyester weave, also known as titanium, and we're going to talk a lot more about that and what titanium means in a bit. The shape is elongated, it's thermoform unibody with edge foam, it's a polypropylene core, and it's 16.5 by 7.375 inches. The grip length is 5.5 inches, the grip circumference is 4.25 inches, the weight's 8.15 to 8.3 ounces, the advertised swing weight is 120, the advertised twist weight is 6.18. It does include a custom neoprene paddle cover, and I really love that Bread and Butter is including these with their new paddles. I never get tired of having a nice paddle cover, and the fact that these are paddle specific is just really, really fun. And this paddle also has custom packaging, and I talked quite a bit about this in my Fat Boy review, but Bread and Butter includes the absolute best unboxing experience in the pickleball game. It really does feel like Christmas morning when you open up one of their boxes. As far as warranty goes, they offer a 30-day love it or return it window, as well as a 6-month manufacturing defects warranty. And this 30-day return policy is one of the best in pickleball right now. And I really appreciate that they do this. It really shows how much Bread and Butter believes in their product. And finally, of course, this paddle is USAP approved, and the price is $161.50 after you use promo code MatthewK to knock off 15%. Okay, let's get it out of the way. This paddle is a lot like the Bread and Butter Filth. And if you haven't watched my video on that power monster, you definitely should. Up until Bread and Butter's recent releases, that was by far my favorite paddle from them. But now, Bread and Butter has brought a new surface to their line and have pretty much created a paddle that has close to the same amount of power as the Filth, but with a little bit more of a muted touch and feel in the short, soft game, which I think is a good thing. And this new surface being used in the Shogun includes what's being called titanium within pickleball, or at least that was the name being used until recently. And I talked quite a bit about what titanium means in pickleball in my review of the Honolulu J2 titanium a little while ago, so be sure to check that video out if you haven't. But right now, there's a bit of a debate if real titanium is actually ever involved in the production of this material being used within pickleball paddles. And while I'm no material science engineer, I've dug quite a bit into this topic, and what I've been able to gather checking out podcasts and other Gear Junkies videos is that this material's classification as titanium has an unusual origin story, one that does actually go back to titanium. However, it seems titanium may no longer be involved. Ultimately, the material that's creating these shimmering lines of red, blue, gold, etc. in all these titanium paddle spaces are actually just synthetic fibers. It seems like polyester is probably a bit more precise of a label, and while these fibers with this metallic sheen may no longer derive any of their qualities from titanium, the name and label of titanium has stuck. Okay, I'm actually not sure I've reduced any of the confusion. I did want to go into this a little bit because there were apparently some folks on the internet pretty upset about this whole naming thing, which I personally think was a little silly. At this point though, it looks like Bread and Butter has actually tried to negate the whole issue, and they're simply calling this material polyester on their website at the moment. But if I remember correctly, they were jokingly saying it was titanium mined from Mars and that one of the company owner's daddies had invented titanium on social media a while back. So I think folks should have been clued in a bit that a semi-precious material wasn't being lacquered onto their paddles' faces in any substantial way. I mean, there wasn't any TMZ footage of Doug fighting Tim Cook over the latest haul of titanium from a starship that I ever saw. But anyway, I really don't think any of this actually matters. What the material isn't that important. What we should care about is how it affects the paddle's feel and performance when we play with it. That's my 2 cents. In titanium, polyester, whatever these shiny threads are called, allow for a paddle face that feels different than anything else we've seen. And for context, I've hit quite a bit with Honolulu's J2 Titanium, the Nexus Pro Star, Neonic's recent flare paddle, as well as the Shogun here, which to my knowledge was actually the first paddle available with these shiny threads in its surface. And all of these paddles using titanium surfaces have a plush feel that really pockets the ball. There is one other titanium paddle called the Gold Rush from a company called Mosey. That's a bit of an exception, but I'll be talking about that one in a different video. And to me, titanium has finally fulfilled the promise that I thought Kevlar failed to deliver generally. A plush paddle face that really pockets the ball and lets you have real control over your placement. Almost all the paddles I've tested that include titanium have this characteristic with just a couple of exceptions. And I don't think that's the case with Kevlar, which can feel soft to some people and with some paddles and crisp to other people. And so this whole thing has resulted in the Shogun being one fun paddle. And that's what I think is most important. Like I said before, it plays a lot like the super powerful Filth paddle that Bread and Butter already released, but with a more plush feel on softer hits. I would say this is one of, if not my favorite, elongated titanium paddle to have hit with, and it really complements a player that doesn't like to put a lot of power behind their hits 100% of the time and enjoys patient dinking and the softer part of the game. However, the Shogun with that 120 swing weight can, of course, still blast balls from the baseline whenever you want to, but that plush titanium face allows for some real finesse in the short game that I really appreciate. And it's nice to have a soft game where you're not having to constantly remind yourself to hold back. You can be relaxed with this paddle, in my opinion. And that has a lot to do with the fact that the pop is very controllable with the Shogun. Drops are a ton of fun, dinking is lovely, it's just a pleasure to hit with. And I think more than anything, it has to do with that inclusion of titanium in its surface. And I'm just hoping all the hoopla around the naming doesn't discourage companies from using this material moving forward. This stuff is just super special and is what I think pickleball needs. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to see an innovation within paddle tech that benefits a control player like myself. When so many companies are doing the power race with Gen 3 paddles, Gen 4 paddles, paddles with guided missile systems. I mean, rec play is becoming a war zone with so many people driving balls right at your face. So thank you, Bread and Butter, for bringing a paddle to the market that still lets you have great control and a super fun time up at the kitchen, even though it can still be a bazooka from the baseline. So who is the Shogun for? It's for someone that likes to drive at the baseline and have plenty of power for putaways, but really likes a plush feeling paddle in the short game. And what separates the Shogun from top control paddles is that elongated shape, which gives you so much plow through on those big swings, as well as some extended reach. And those are two things that wide bodies and standard paddles really struggle to deliver. As for value, I do think $161.50 after promo code Matthew K knocks off that 15% is actually pretty reasonable for how unique and innovative this paddle is. This really is one of the best paddles Bread and Butter has put out, and I'm super excited to see what they do next. I just hope the internet's fuss over the titanium label doesn't dissuade them from using it in future paddles. As for the giveaway, all you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and comment down below what sort of feature or innovation you'd like to see with Bread and Butter's next paddle, and then fill out the Google form in the description so I have a way to contact you if you win. That's it. The raffle will be in about a month, so be on the lookout for an email. Good luck. And before I let you go, I also wanted to highlight some eye protection I've been using lately. These are the Nizo sunglasses from UDRIPPIN. And I think the fact that power paddles are getting more and more powerful and even cheaper means we're going to be seeing a lot more of them at open play, and probably with folks that don't know how to control them. So that means eye protection is going to become even more important. Up until finding the Nizo glasses, I was a diehard carbon glasses fan, but their look isn't for everyone. UDRIPPIN's glasses has a lot of the same features as carbon's, but with a more classic sunglasses frame that looks way less like goggles in my opinion. They do come with a great case and the clear lenses like I have, and there are a couple of sunglass lens variants as well, and for me they perform really well. I haven't noticed fogging or any weird aberrations, and then I really like how they fit and are comfortable even when you wear a hat, which I think is super important. Also, my ears don't feel fatigued after I wear them for a long time, and they just feel lightweight. And after promo code Matthew K knocks off 15%, these things are just 85 bucks, which I think is pretty reasonable. Getting shot in the eye without protection is going to cost a lot more. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description in case you want to check them out. Okay, that's all I've got. Bread and Butter is doing some really cool stuff, and I really hope we see titanium used in more and more paddles. I can't wait to see what other innovation those crazy guys come up with, and if you found this review helpful, please consider using promo code MatthewK on your next paddle purchase. I have a lot of the popular brands listed below, and my master list has even more. I'll be sure to leave a link for Bread and Butter at the very top. Don't forget to use promo code MatthewK for that 15% discount. You can also support the channel by purchasing some of the cool pickleball gear I've been testing out by using the links and codes in the video description below. And then hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and slamming that notification bell all go a long way to helping me out as well. Thank you so much for the support. Most importantly, I hope you get to pickle soon, and just don't forget, it's about having fun.